the Ministry of Gender has released 16 more days of the arrears owed the caterers. And managing consultant of Goodwill International Group, Philip Akpina Asibit, has told the Accra High Court the state is pushing for the court to believe the contract between him and the National Youth Employment Program, NYEP, never existed because he cannot get access to some documents. He insisted the contract between his consultancy firm and NYEP existed, stressing individuals have hidden some documents from the court to prevent him from properly pursuing his case. Right, those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page, and you can also hear us on 3FM 92.7. Let's begin now. Managing consultant of Goodwill International Group, Philip Akpina Asibit, has told an Accra High Court the state is pushing for the court to believe the contract between him and the National Youth Employment Program, NYEP, never existed because he cannot get access to some documents. He insisted the contract between his consultancy firm and NYEP existed, stressing some individuals have hidden some documents from the court to prevent him from properly pursuing his case.
Although managing consultant of Goodwill International Group, Philip Akpina Asibit, has told the court there is a grand scheme by the state and some individuals to deny him justice, he said documents presented to the court and the information from some witnesses indicate that he had a contractual agreement with NYEP that led to the payment of some monies. This was after he was told by the state prosecutor Evelyn Coulson that he had no contract with NYEP and available documents proved to that effect. Philip Akpina Asibit insisted he had a contract with NYEP, but former Director General of Management Development and Productivity Institute MDPI, Dr. Shaibu Gariba, will not make available some documents for his defense. He argued if he had no contract with NYEP, why will the predecessor of Dr. Gariba, Dr. Martin Zeme, witness the previous MOU and tripartite agreement signed by GIG, NYEP and Westcam, where he was also briefed of other engagements? He also disagreed with prosecution that he had no consultancy agreement awarding consultancy services to GIG and MDPI, which prosecution stated is evident in the invoices tendered in as evidence, which he claimed money for. He again denied the claim that he signed as managing consultant for MDPI, which he said he couldn't have done because he never held such a title with MDPI. Meanwhile, the case between businessman Alfred Agbesi Woyome and the state was adjourned to November 13. The Lands Commission was expected to appear before the Supreme Court to answer questions on the ownership of the Abelemkpe property, which Woyome currently occupies but has denied ownership. Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News, Accra.
And tutors of the 38 colleges of education across the country have served notice of their intention to embark on strike. According to the tutors, government has failed to implement their market premium. It will be recalled. In 2014, the 38 teacher trainee colleges were converted into colleges of education and given the mandate to train diplomates to teach the country's basic schools. This followed the implementation of the Anamoah Mensah Education Reforms Committee's recommendations. Prince Obing Hima is the National Secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. He's joining us on the telephone lines now for some more clarification on this. Good evening, sir. Thank you. We're extremely grateful for your time.
Good evening, Nancy, to you and all your cherished listeners out there.
Now, last year, this issue came up. It's over a year now, and we have a new government in place. Since we last spoke with you some weeks ago, tell me how the consultation with government has been on the issue.
Auntie, we want to believe that governance is a continuous process. This whole thing started under NDC government, and the migration took effect in 2016 October, when we had already had agreement with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to let a 10 take retrospective effect from 1st January 2016. It means that from January 2016 up to September 16, we're going to have salary arrears being the difference between the new and the old salary structure, you know. And from that time up to this time, we have pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. We don't seem to see any end. And we wanted to be law-abiding. We appealed to the National Labour Commission. After months of hearing and appearance, the National Labour Commission gave a resounding, ruling. That is on the 4th of October 2017. And the ruling had it that the Finance Ministry should liaise with the Ministry of Education to make every effort to pay the salary arrears to the teachers within 2 weeks. And those were explicit, those were unambiguous, those were in clear terms. So we expected the Ministry of Education and the Finance to have complied. From 4th up to this time, they've not complied. We have a lot of issues. You talked about the market premium issue, which is the heartbeat of every college of education, teacher. You cannot simply talk of, us being in the tertiary fraternity, then you deny us what the tertiary teachers are enjoying. That is an act of discrimination, and the laws of Ghana are against that. We are taking one thing at a time. For now, we are on our salary arrears. When we are done with that, with due consultation with our lawyers and our experts, labor experts, and in the face of the law, we shall take up the issue of the market premium seriously. But for now, we are dealing with the issue of the salary arrears. We are saying that we have waited up to this time. If by today up to Wednesday, when we are going to wear red bands across the 38 colleges of education, if the money doesn't hit our accounts, Thursday we shall roll total strike action across the 38 public colleges. It's not a joke. We are poised for action. You can send your men grounds, on the grounds to find out how our men are poised for action. And we are prepared to stay home up to when and where the money will be paid to us.
Right. So I need to find out from you what kinds of consultation or engagements you've had with your members ahead of this intended strike. I mean, we do get instances where members will renege on calls from associations to go on strikes of this kind. Do you have the full complement of your members? I
can assure you that Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAC, Prince Obinhima, National Secretary, I'm so proud of my members. We are one of the formidable unions that you can talk of. In all the strike actions that we have complied on, we have always achieved 100% compliance. And our zones, my zonal chairpersons, my local chairpersons, we have 3 structures in the association. National Council that consists of all the local chairpersons in the 38 public colleges of education met in Kumasi last month, and we mooted this idea. It was confirmed by another structure, the National Executive Committee, NEC, that's made up of the national executive officers together with the zonal executive, chairpersons. Also met and confirmed the idea, and national leadership is, implementing. What is it? So you can confirm. I can assure you that we're going to achieve 100% compliance, and our people are resolute.
Right, Prince Obinhima, we're grateful for your time. We wish you the very best, though. Prince Obinhima is the National College Secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association. Now, let's move away from that. The Gender Ministry is to review child-related legislation to prevent juvenile offending. Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister Otiko Efisa-Jaba says this is necessary in the wake of increased numbers of defilement and rape in the country.
The past week has witnessed outrage from a cross-section of the public after the case of a 4-year-old girl defiled was reported at Asim Adadientem. The calls have been many: swift prosecution of the juvenile offender and care to be offered the victim.
We are going to provide shelter and accommodation. We are going to look at her health and ensure that her psychological state, the mother, the father, the child, the family, how we can reintegrate them into their community. And so it is not only the victim, it is the community that they have to go back and live in.
The ministry says as cases of defilement and rape surge, there is a need for reforms.
We are going to look at juvenile justice, for example, areas in which there is a gap, like we are finding out today, that a child was left, alone is part of the issue. What do we do to ensure that children are protected when their parents are absent?
There are calls for a waiver of medical expenses of victims. The Ghana Police Service says it will go a long way to extend help to victims' parents.
At the police hospital, which is in Accra, we do not charge for such examinations. I do know that some other facilities do charge, but these are not within the control of the police service. And so we will also appeal, we will join the voices in appealing that some kind of policy or some kind of regulations or rules are made so that victims who have, people who have suffered these crimes and who need medical attention can get the medical attention for free.
And the body of a 24-year-old butcher has been found in a bush near Kuga, a suburb of Yendi. In the northern region, the suspected murder led to reprisal attacks on some Fulani herdsmen by the youth of the town.
The reported tension over the presence of Fulani herdsmen at Yendi follows similar disputes which have left 8 persons dead in some parts of the Kwewu East district of the eastern region. Preliminary investigations by the police at Yendi revealed that Ibrahim Abdullahi was found dead on Sunday, October 29, at about 6:30 p.m. The body has since been deposited at the Tamale Teaching Hospital morgue. According to police reports, 4 nomadic herdsmen in the Yendi township were found with multiple degrees of injuries at 10 p.m. on Sunday. After the death of Ibrahim Abdullahi was communicated, the youth in the town went on rampage and attacked the 4 herdsmen. No arrest has been made.
You're still watching and listening to News at 10. We're live from the News Hub at Adisawe, Kanda. We'll be right back with more news. President Akufo-Addo has described as disturbing political events in Togo and revealed government's effort at engaging political actors towards lasting peace. The president made the revelation when he received chiefs and elders of Aflao traditional area at the Flagstaff House in Accra.
The traditional authority from Aflao in the Ketu South municipality was at the presidency to thank the president for his policies and appealed for the completion of projects started by the previous administration. Paramount Chief of the Aflao traditional area, Togwiga Amenya Fiti V, called for the creation of an additional district in Ketu district and appealed for government intervention in the Togo crisis.
The consequences of this impasse, if not peacefully resolved, could result in refugee inflow into Aflao, which could adversely affect our economy and security.
President Akufo-Addo assured the chiefs of effort to address their request on the creation of new district. He, however, revealed government effort at addressing the political crisis in Togo.
The events that are taking place next door in Togo are disturbing for all of us. I remember vividly what happened in 2005 when the former president Eyadema died. There were problems over the succession. Over 100,000 refugees streamed across the border to take out. Many of them, I think, are still there. They have not gone back to Togo. So I know that anything that happens in Togo is a matter of very, very great concern. And it is a concern to me and to all the people of Ghana. You can be sure that I cannot be idle while these events are taking place. The Togolese president came to see me in Tamale 10 days ago for a long discussion. I've been meeting other political actors in the situation, and definitely we're all talking to see how we can bring this crisis to a closure and bring stability and peace back to Togo.
The president again appealed to the chiefs to work with law enforcement agencies to draw positive benefits from the open border policy.
And the Trades Unions Congress, TUC, wants government to introduce reforms to revive key national assets instead of outright privatization. Speaking at a meeting with President Akufo-Addo of the Flagstaff House, the TUC also called for financial support for the Labour Commission.
The president meeting with the executive body of the TUC is his first since assuming office. Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress appealed to government to support the Labour Commission deal with backlog of cases.
The National Labour Commission needs special attention. Currently, there are hundreds of industrial dispute cases pending at the National Labour Commission. In order to clear this huge backlog of cases, we suggest that the commissioners should be given the necessary incentives to sit at least 4 days per week instead of half a day per week. In the medium term, a more sustainable way to ensure that industrial disputes are settled very quickly and that justice is not delayed is to amend the Labour Act, Act 651.
Dr. Yalba advised government to tread cautiously on the ECG concession and the sale of some units of the VRA.
The Labour Act, Act 651, provides that in a reorganization such as what is happening at the ECG, the incumbent job holders must be paid redundancy benefits. But MIDA has sidelined the Public Utility Workers Union, and it is trying very hard to use the back door to engage ECG workers directly. That is the main reason why the union has gone to court to seek an injunction on the concession process. I urge you, Mr. President, to intervene to ensure that the union is properly engaged so that Ghana can benefit fully from the compact.
He again called for radical reforms at the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) to make it more viable. Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafuiwa, responded on behalf of government.
You agree with me that when it comes to issues of law, he's number one. You can't just ignore the provisions of the law and then go ahead to establish your own structures without regard to the law. So what we need to do is that we have to carry out the reforms starting from actually making sure that the legal regime itself is looked at, and where necessary the reforms will start from the amendments of the law. If there need be also that we may have to even come out with a new law altogether, we may have to do.
And the Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Kweku Ofosu Esamoah, is requesting financial clearance from government to appoint more lawyers for the Commission. With more than 1,200 cases pending, the Commission has only one lawyer.
The National Labour Commission was set up by Act 651 to adjudicate industrial disputes. These include wrongful dismissals and termination of appointments. The Commission, with 2 offices, operates solely from head office in Accra, where computers are inadequate and lacks space to keep archival materials. Its Western Regional Office is also ill-equipped. Transport is by means of 2 official cars and motorcycles, which need to be repaired.
This vehicle parked here belongs to the National Labour Commission. It's supposed to assist the Commission to work, but currently it is faulty, and the Commission says it doesn't have funds to help it fix this particular vehicle. Initially there were 2, but the Executive Secretary himself has to finance the first one by paying close to 1,000 Ghana cedis to get the other one on the road. Will the Commission be able to raise additional funds to get this vehicle back on the road?
You came from Tema, the vehicle will have to go to Tema. The same vehicle will go to Aburi. The same vehicle. There are cases where I have to give off my official vehicle for them to use.
The commission, with more than 1,000 cases pending, requires at least 4 lawyers in Accra.
I have also written to TEMA, the municipal authority, so that in future they could be posting the newly trained lawyers who come out and those who did industrial relations, dispute resolution.
Of major concern to the LNC is that of the commissioners who are part-time workers.
There have been cases where allowances for the members of the commission have been delayed for 6 to 10 months. Because they are part-time commissioners, they sit once a week, only on Wednesdays. And on Wednesdays, they come in the afternoon. These are the time when they would have attended to their work, either as lawyers, either at their various engagements, and they come tired.
The commission is appealing for support from the labor unions as well.
And TV3, as part of events marking its 20th anniversary, has lined up a series of exclusive interviews with eminent Ghanaians dubbed 20 by 20. We intend to take our viewers and audiences on an expedition through history from the unique perspective of these eminent persons while celebrating their personal contributions. The episodes will run for 10 weeks on TV, radio and online. The first episode will be aired on News 360 tomorrow, Tuesday, October 31.
We still have not arrived. I mean, we shouldn't think that we have, because we have not arrived in the sense that we still have impunity in the system. When vigilantism continues to be there, where people show people where power lies, law and order sometimes breaks down, and people think that they are above everything. We have not yet arrived. Artificial, Diamond Pangino, Artificial, in the Huetro, Sana Ode Pia, Bubea, people shop at Roma, Hazy, Vietnam. You know, this was rambless.
And on that interesting note, we're News at 10. I'm Stephen Nt. Thanks for making time with us. There is more news at 3news.com. On behalf of the crew here, good night.